Jobs, jobs, jobs. You've asked. International jobs. Many of you want to go abroad and you want to go abroad with a job. So today I'm going to address exactly what you're asking for. But before I begin, Arnitha Webb, global lifestyle strategist, founder of RYL Abroad. Now, I typically don't come on this channel talking about how to get a remote job, how to get an international job. And when I say international job, I just mean, with an international employer. Okay. I usually don't talk about the job route at all because I'm all about not just location independence, but I'm also, financial freedom. And for me, I have defined that for myself as one who can make their own income and cannot be laid off, cannot be fired because I control the income. And even for those of you who have wonderful careers, we need, and I had a wonderful career when I worked as well. Honestly, I don't shun the job market. I'm just sort of, I guess, reading the tea leaves in a sense. And I believe going forward in 2025 and beyond, that even when you're in a wonderful career, your career choice and in your quote unquote dream job, I still think that you should have another stream of income coming in. That is my message. That is what I believe everyone should have. Okay. But today I am going to go back to an earlier topic because once upon a time I did talk about international jobs because I was connecting high school students with being prepared to compete in a global economy. Okay, in a past life, that's what I was doing. So I do have some insight into how international companies hire. And so I'll pass on whatever I can pass on to you. But today, I'm going to start this topic giving you some resources that you can go to and getting you started in this job search path. Okay, so we'll begin. Okay, so we're going to begin in a way that I would recommend if I was going to go this route. If I wanted to move abroad and I wanted to move abroad, gainfully employed, this is the route that I would take. We're going to start out at a website called EnglishJobs.se. Now, let me just explain a few things before I go too far in. Alrighty, you'll notice, first of all, any link, any resource that I give you, I will put a link in the description so you don't have to worry about pausing the video to jot down the URL, okay? You will notice as you look at this site that it does say why Sweden. This is a Swedish site, okay? Doesn't mean that it will only lead you to jobs in Sweden. It means that that is the primary site that we are going to be starting at, okay? But a lot of companies may be headquartered in Sweden, but they could have locations in numerous other countries. This is just where we are beginning, okay? And today I'm going to start. This is probably going to be a series, and I'm going to give you about 5 resources, just a good starting point to get you on the right track. All righty. Now, I'm not going to go through every link on this website. You can hit it and feel free to familiarize yourself at your own pace. I'm just going to point out some highlights that I want you to be mindful of. First off, I'm going to scroll down just towards the middle of the page, and you'll see that you have links that's going to refer to professionals and students. Really delve into those. Also, if you are a business startup, there is a pathway for you to pursue your business aspirations as well. And as you can see, they have applied for Swedish work visas on here also. Okay. Now, the grouping here of companies that you see is really, when I tell you, it's just a snippet of the corporations that you could potentially work for. From this starting point, it's really, really, really just a very high level snippet. I'm going to bring us back to the top, and I want to bring your attention to the button that's to the far right where it says Meet a Recruiter. And I'm going to click on it. And whenever, there we go. All righty. And now I want to bring us down. Oh, let me see if any of these recruiters, if I've spoken to any of them. No, I have not. Okay. All righty. I'm going to bring you down to two workshops. They have two workshops here. Okay. Workshop one, workshop two. I really recommend that you read over the differences, what each of these workshops, what they entail, what they offer you, and select one. Now, you will pay to attend this workshop, €19, which will come out to about what, 23 US dollars probably. Okay. It will be worth your time to attend the workshop. Once you attend the workshop, you will be able to have a one-to-one conversation with the recruiter. Now, this is where it really gets good. This is the only money that you've had to put out. But now you're going to have an opportunity to have a recruiter work with you, and you're not paying for that. Let's just say, because I don't know how all the workings, the inner workings of it is, but just so that we kind of can understand the process in American terms, let's just say this particular company is contracted through the Swedish government to help international employers with their hiring, bringing on candidates and with their hiring. So they're going to be very, very, very helpful to you. They do the heavy lifting, if you will, for the companies. They also, it lets the company know when you submit an application to them that you have a recruiter through this company, and they know that all the checks and balances of your documents and ability to move and so forth are going to be are accurate. Okay, and they won't run into any problems, especially because if it's not a remote job, some of these jobs are attached to work visas and such, so it just helps everything go much faster, much smoother. It's a win-win for everyone, but you're not coming out of pocket paying for this. Okay, you've only paid for the workshop. All righty. Now, when you do have a conversation with the recruiter, um, that recruiter will be able to answer a lot of questions. He or she will be able to tell you some things to, how to search for a job. They'll give you a list of keywords so that when you access the databases and companies, you'll be able to zero in on the career path that you are looking for. You won't have to look through thousands upon thousands, because you are the one. You're still going to do the work. You're going to do the work. And then they're going to be there to follow up. I'll explain more about how that works as we move on. But they may even do a slight mock interview with you, may ask you, a common question and have you answer it, and then give you some pointers, tell you some nuances, some differences in working for an American company versus, a company in another country. They are very, very helpful. The If I could just take a pause, a sidebar for a second, this is what comes to mind for me, and I know I'm going to date myself when I say this. Okay, I think in terms of before the whole job search turned into something that was completely 100% online. Once upon a time, there were offices, there were headhunters, there were recruiters sitting in offices, and you went to that office and you sat down with someone across from them and told them what you were looking for, and they helped you find a job once upon a time. Okay. Well, here you have a recruiter like that that's working with you, okay, to help you find that job. So I find this to be really, really helpful. And on top of that, again, it brings your application, it brings it to the front of the pile, because now you have someone that's following up on an application that you've submitted. They cannot influence whether or not you get an interview or a job, but at least your application is not getting lost in the sauce, right? Okay. Now, directly on this site, this is the first resource that I'm giving you. Directly on this site, you will see a button that says View Jobs. So if you want to look into positions that's directly with this company, have at it. It's, right there. You just click on View Jobs. But I'm going to move on to the second resource I want to give you. Okay. and that is jobteaser.com. Now, this particular site is great for recent grads or students, but the reason why I'm bringing you here, and the reason why it can be helpful, a good knowledge base for everyone, is because sometimes the titles that we're accustomed to when we, for example, you say teacher, a business analyst, a program manager, or whatever, you have an understanding in American standards what that title is, and what the requirements are, what the job entails, but it can be quite different in another country. So there is, across the top menu here, you see where it says job roles. Okay, it gives you a little overview of what they mean when how they're describing the position of a strategic consultant, of a teacher, of a program manager, of a whatever. So, and I'm telling you, that is something that you're going to want to acquaint yourself with, because you are definitely going to find some differences. You may have been working in a particular role here for over 10 years in the US, and you may find, if you really do your international search based on that title, you may find that it doesn't apply to you. It's different. The whole role of the position is different. So you're going to have to get used to really taking your time with this search and looking at things like that. Okay. The third source that I'm going to give you in this message is jobland.se. Okay, jobland.se is a massive, massive search engine for international jobs. You can see here it says 53,874 jobs in total are active here right now. And another sidebar, in my experience thus far, these sites do not have placeholder jobs, do not have stale jobs. These are active, very, very, active in recruiting positions. And by the way, if you're looking for something that you might want to start within 2 weeks, within 3 weeks, you can find jobs through this path that I'm explaining to you right now that you can start right away. Okay. All righty. So jobland.se is another one. Another thing that I will say, I am using the Chrome browser, which automatically does an English translation. That can get kind of quirky sometimes. So if you go on to any of these and you find that the page is maybe partially translated, or it's just not a good translation job, I would recommend that you either refresh the page, and if it's still not so good, it happens, right? It happens. We're dealing with technology. What can happen sometimes, if you hit a page that's really not translated well, if you keep clicking down into further layers, further sub pages within the site, it'll start translating better and better. Okay. So you see, when I open up occupational categories, if this page wasn't translated well and I still randomly clicked on one of the categories, then the next page may be a better translation. So don't be too taken aback if the browser that you're using, if the translation isn't working perfectly. Okay. So let's see. We started with englishjobs.se. We went to jobteaser.com, and we are on jobland.se, right? The next one I want to show you is another massive search engine. And you'll see here, don't ask me to pronounce this company, because I cannot. Okay, but it is the Swedish Public Employment Service. I'm going to stress again, you could be looking in a particular category and land on it and go, oh, I thought I was looking for jobs in Sweden, and this job here is actually in Portugal, or actually in Barcelona, wherever. Again, the company could be headquartered in Sweden. Maybe that's where its HR department is, but the position is not. Okay. So don't let that sway you. Okay. Um, most of these sites you will have to register an account, but this is another really, really, really massive website. All of the sources that I'm giving you today are considered primary resources for international job searches. You have your primary sources, your secondary sources, your recruiting resources, okay? So in this one, I'm giving you a couple of primary sources, and you would probably get These would probably also be recommended starting points that your recruiter will give you as well, because these are massive sites, and they have, again, jobs that are, need immediate people, and jobs that may take a little bit longer. Okay. Um, but again, you look through um the positions. You see here the location bank. You have a space here for keywords. Remember, I said your recruiter will probably give you a whole batch of keywords that are applicable to you. But let's say let's just select something very, teacher, right? So here it narrows down 55 positions. Um, as a teacher, I'm going to randomly select one of these positions, and here's more details. Here's where I can find out about the job, find out, what the qualifications are, and such. Okay. If I want to actually apply for the job, it's telling me that I'm going to apply on, not on this website, but on the employer's website. There is the button. That is very important, because as you submit your applications, you'll be communicating weekly with your recruiter, and letting them know what jobs you apply to, so that they can follow up. And so you have to be mindful when you give them the link to the position that you applied for, that you're not giving a link that's from the main site, from the main search database, not from jobteaser.com. You want to wait until you get to the applications page, then pick up that URL and give them that particular URL, and any information for who the contact is. If the job is giving you their phone number, their email address, whatever it is, that is what you are passing on for your recruiter to follow up. So this would be the link. If I was going to apply for this position, this would be the link I would give to my recruiter, and then I would give them Ben Owen's name, phone number, and email address, because they're going to follow up for you. They're working for you. Okay. All righty. Okay. And let's let's go back here a bit. Now, for those of you who, again, if you are looking to move abroad, and you want to take this career path, this is the path that I highly recommend, because this gets you set up in a country. This gets you immersed in a neighborhood. It attaches the work visa to it. You automatically, form community amongst the people that you work with, and so forth. But for those of you who want to go remote, and hold that note. Okay, you see I backed up on this page, and when I look down here, it doesn't look like it translated so well. So I'm going to just refresh the page, see if it does a little better. There it is. You see, it happens. It happens. Um, but what was I going to say? So, but for those of you who are looking just for remote, you can also search just remote jobs here. Okay. Here's 246 remote jobs, and I'm sure it's going to be in some of every kind of category there is. Which brings to mind, because I see this sales manager job here. Um, you know, there's two things I want to say. When it comes to entry points, sales is a great entry point to large corporations, because a lot of times they're high turnover positions, or people, move up quickly based on their production or what have you. Um, and for remote, you usually will find sales. I mean, just if I wanted to just pull something out of a hat, I could think of, what about all the cruise liners? European cruise liners, they're always hiring English speakers, so that's probably a job that I could get remote. Doing customer service or sales for one of the cruise liners. I will say this too, though. If you are in a high skilled area, the building sector, construction, HVAC, plumbing, engineering, any of those, you guys just never have a worry for a job at all, do you? Because you always fall into that high needs category. And so there is just not a country in the world that doesn't have a fast track path for those high need sectors, right? And so you'll find that that'll, if you want something fast and you're in those areas, it's going to be very easy for you. Very, very easy. Okay, and the other resource that I'm going to give you right now, because you're going to be busy just with what I give you today. Trust me, you're going to be busy. Okay, so the last one that I'm going to give you here before I show you and tell you a little bit more about working with this recruiter is Uptrail, uptrail.com. Okay, works the same way. All of the resources I'm giving you today are primary. Um, International job search engines. So they have massive positions in them, and it's up to you to peruse around and use your keywords and try to find a job that you would want to apply for. Now, if you take the sources that I gave you today, just these sources, and I mean jobteaser.com, jobland.se, the one I can't remember, I can't pronounce, the Swedish Public Employment Service, and Uptrail. So if you take those four sources right there and you work with a recruiter, let me show you how you would communicate back to your recruiter so that they can help you out. They will provide you with a way to let them know what jobs you've applied for. So let's just say on every Saturday, you send an email to your recruiter and you give them a list of every job that you've applied for. They may send you a spreadsheet like the one that you see here, and you'll put the date that you applied. You would paste that URL link like I explained earlier. You would put in the contact information, email and phone, as much information as was provided on that job ad, and under status put that you applied. By you doing that, when your recruiter comes in the following week, the following Monday, this is giving them their marching order. So now they start contacting that contact person so that your application doesn't get lost and it gets pulled to the forefront. Okay. And now you can be as aggressive as you want. If you want to apply for 20, 30, 40 jobs a week, no one's going to tell you that you can't. You're just going to keep your recruiter busy. Okay. And so have at it. If you want to apply for 2 or 3 a week, no one's gonna tell you you're not doing enough, because this is your dream. This is your endeavor. So no one's gonna sway you one way or the other. It is up to you to use the resource. Now, once you are able to work with a recruiter, I will tell you that's a limited time frame of approximately 3 months. Okay? So what I would do is I would use that 3 months well. I would use it wisely. I would say if I want to really move outside of the US and I want to take this path right here, let me take advantage of having someone speak on my behalf. And once again, they can't guarantee that you will land a job nor the interview, but they are making sure that you get seen. And by them reaching out to that employer on your behalf, that employer now knows they have someone else helping them with the checks and balances. So at least they know that your ability to accept the position, if they make you an offer, nothing will stop you from accepting the position. If a work visa is attached to it, they will know all of those checks and balances are being done simply because you were wise enough. You were wise enough to work with a recruiter. Okay. So it's to your benefit to go this route. Now, just a little tidbit, right? When it comes to these jobs here, I would say approach them with an open mind. Really look at the titles, look at the requirements. Don't assume that you know what the requirements and qualifications or what the job descriptions are. Really look at them, because you are definitely, it's not a question in my mind, you're going to find some differences, right? Another thing, don't compare US salaries either. Really do not. Okay. Because that varies as well, country to country. And also you have to consider that cost of living is managed very differently in different countries. So for example, there are a lot of developed nations around the world that have already solved what a working wage should look like so that people aren't struggling. They've really responded to that in a very positively for people in their country. So people aren't struggling in the same ways. They have and a lot of most of these countries will have public health systems as well. So you don't have people spending out, half of their check on their health care. Cost food may be, way more modest than what we are accustomed to the US. So look at the opportunity more than anything, because 9 out of 10 times you won't be offered a wage that will cause you any struggle. Put it like that. That will cause you any struggle. So just be open-minded about it all, okay? And take advantage of having a recruiter work on your behalf. Alrighty? So I am going to end with that. And if this was helpful to you, I am hoping that you will subscribe to the channel and look out for some follow-up messages to this series about working with getting an international job as a way to move abroad. Alrighty. So until next time, ciao.